If you're looking to get the latest updates from Microsoft 365, but don't want to spend hours sifting through the 100 or so announcements like me, stay tuned because in this episode I'm going to be covering all the latest updates, changes, and enhancements that you don't want to miss.
Okay guys, so diving in here, I'm going to be covering all the announcements from November, including all the highlights from Ignite. So we do have a lot to cover in this video. Be sure to check out my video description for a blog post I always supplement with these videos for more helpful information about all these announcements. Diving in here, we're first going to start off with Microsoft Teams as we usually do. This first one's related to a UI update for flexible layout in Teams meetings with resizable divider. Here you can see that in the screenshot where users have more customizability to drag and drop and resize the cards they would see on the page. Timelines on this one's early February and be complete by late March. Next one here is related to structured meetings, webinars, and town halls where you can have now a private chat for organizers and presenters to keep their communication separate and not available to the attendees for basic organization and management of the meeting as it goes on. Timeline on this one is mid-February and be complete by late February. Next one here is for the meeting interpreter agent and multilingual meeting experience. They're making some updates. This is only available just as an asterisk to people who have a Copilot license as part of this because you need that agent in order to facilitate this. But now it's going to be able to automatically detect the language that's being spoken versus previously you would have to have manually set that as part of that. And they have some additional updates to, when they're preparing in the visual experience you see there, as well as some of the visual experience in the settings for this as well too. Timelines on this one will be mid-December and be complete by late December. Next one here is a security feature for Microsoft Teams, and it's related to protection against tenant-owned domain impersonation. So if you do allow external domains to contact users in Teams, it's going to be able to identify these external users impersonating a domain owned by your tenant, and then they'll see this message as you can see here in the screenshot as part of that. This is something that they've been doing and rolling out on multiple levels here, and now they're extending this into the domain section as well too. This will happen early December, be complete by mid-December. Next feature here is preventing screen capture while you're in a Teams meeting. It is only going to be available in Teams Premium, so it's a little bit of a bummer, but it would allow you to configure that in the Teams meeting settings, as you can see here in the screenshot, about midway down through the advanced protection there. But this would allow the screen capture to be prevented on native detection tools in most third-party apps like Snagit. As an example here, this will happen early November and be complete by late November. Next one here, some updates to the Teams Admin Center and some of the external collaboration settings. They're going to be changing the UI up on this one and adding some additional features, but effectively here you can see in this first screenshot, they're going to be having the external collaboration set here in a condensed view. And then as part of this, you're also going to have some updated settings here for open and controlled, as well as custom mode for how you want to deploy all the security for external collaboration in your organization. Timelines on this one's late January, be complete by early February. Hey guys, if you're looking to save hours performing Microsoft 365 security assessments and have client-facing reporting at your fingertips in under 60 seconds, check out a tool that I built called CloudCapsule, which allows you to automate Microsoft 365 assessments, and we mapped to over 150 data points and baseline standards such as CIS and NIST. Within seconds, you'll have policy information and mappings across the entire Microsoft 365 suite in a single platform here that you can navigate. And within our baselines, we've recently mapped to the Foundations benchmark from CIS. You can now see all of these controls with automated pass-fail evidence and evidence collection with full remediation steps for each control. So if this looks interesting and you want to run a free scan on your environment or a client environment, head over to cloudcapsule.io and run a free assessment today. Shifting into Microsoft Outlook here, first one's related to this native poll integration to new Outlook calendar compose form. This is actually pretty cool in my opinion because you can have it, as you can see in the screenshot here, the ability to set out a poll as part of the meeting invite and not actually define the time right off the bat, and then have users vote on which time would work best as part of that and get that on the books after you've had that performed in the past. If you've ever used Meeting Scheduler, poll in Microsoft Outlook, this is just integrating a little bit deeper there for simplicity. Timelines on this one's late October, be complete by early December. The other one here for Outlook is being able to book a workspace when creating an event in the locations section, as you can see here, within the Outlook event as part of this. And this is going to be able to browse any existing workspaces you've set up within the organization as part of that booking. This will happen early December and be complete within the same time frame. Shifting into the Microsoft 365 apps here, just a quick update around the visual experience for whenever users are sharing a SharePoint link or OneDrive link and getting that access denied page. It's a pretty legacy page now, just like a lot of SharePoint. As an example, this will be the updated experience where you can see that they'll be able to request access as normal and see the confirmation of that as part of that as well too. But this will happen early January, be complete by early February. Shifting into Microsoft Intune here, this first one's related to agents within Security Copilot for Intune. And specifically, they've come out with new agents called a change review agent, a policy configuration agent, and a device offboarding agent. Again, Security Copilot is something that's an add-on service, or now, as we'll see later, part of E5, as you'll get some of the credits you can use for that. But effectively here, this is helping admins perform various tasks throughout these agents. I'm not going to go through them in depth because it's a little bit too much for this video. But you can check out the full blog post that details out what each of these do and how to get access to them. They're currently all in preview at the time of this recording. The next announcement here is related to admin tasks, which is basically starting to consolidate some of the security admin tasks that we normally see in the Defender Admin Center, as well as some of the admin tasks that might be within here as well too for EPM, endpoint privilege management, or multi-admin approval, if you guys are familiar with those workflows. And so this is going to give you a consolidated view, mixed feelings on it just because, we have now tasks across various different portals, but I like it in the sense of consolidating the Intune task. Timelines on this one is the first quarter of next year in 2026. This next one here was a huge announcement at Ignite around the scalable Windows resiliency with new recovery tools. So this is specifically based off of the Windows Resiliency Initiative that Microsoft came out with after the whole CrowdStrike incident that we had. And this first announcement was related to quick machine recovery, which does allow you to detect, diagnose, and immediately reboot critical issues from Windows RE. So you don't need to have a hands-on physical approach, in-person intervention if you have things like the driver failures that we saw as part of that incident. They're also introducing point-in-time restore for Windows, which is a new recovery capability that allows you to roll back to a previous state within minutes. So just trying to enhance that capability, and these features are going to be available with Windows Auto Patch, which is included with base plans like Business Premium as an example, and this will be in preview at the time of this recording. This last one here for Intune is another Ignite announcement for Microsoft Edge for Business, extending some of the MAM capabilities you would have in Microsoft Intune as part of this, and this would extend into a contractor managed devices as an example. And there's a lot more information to unpack with this one, but I'll link again in my blog post a lot more of the details behind these. This will be in preview in early 2026. Shifting into Entra here, this was a great update here for groups and being able to have soft delete and restoration for cloud security groups. Previously, these were just basically hard delete after you went through a deletion process and you weren't capable of restoring them. Now you'll have a 30-day window to be able to fully restore those security groups, including the members, the settings, and all of that. This will happen late February and be complete by early March. The next one here is related to sync passkey support here in Entra. We're able to sync passkeys from Apple or Google or other credential providers, which is giving you some more flexibility around registration. There's a lot to unpack with this one, just given the nature of if you want your users to be using third-party unmanaged passkeys as an example of this, if they're not managed already by the organization with those other tools as part of that. This is in preview now. You can check out the full video in my blog as well. Next, shifting into Copilot here, a ton of announcements coming out of Ignite. One of the bigger ones here was the announcement of Agent 365, which is basically an AI control panel or control pane for you to manage all the agents within your organization and have governance over those. So a lot to unpack, when it comes to all the various settings. But as you'll see here in this video, you're going to have your own dashboard where you can manage the governance around all of those agents and what's published, because we're already seeing a proliferation of them, and it gets right into things like shadow AI, but also just like sprawl. We talk about all the agents that could be within your organization. So timelines on this one is a preview. They call this preview the Frontier program. As you keep seeing that or you see that anywhere, it's basically the private preview of any of the Copilot or AI features that Microsoft's coming out with. And you can try to get enrolled into that by following some steps that I'll also upload in my blog as well. This next one here I thought was really cool because this is one of the most powerful features, I think, within Copilot, which is the AI summarization of your meetings. Now you're going to be able to create a custom AI summary based off a specific prompt that you do provide as part of this, and have pre-built templates that you can apply if you want a specific output to be summarized from the meeting. Timelines on this one's mid-December and be complete by mid-January. Other really cool one here is being able to schedule meetings directly from Copilot Chat. This is basically allowing users to find available times between others in the organization and go straight into sending that invite, something I've been looking for quite some time in the sense of the EA types of functions you could get out of Copilot. It's beginning now in the sense of the rollout, and it will be complete by late January. Other really cool one here, I'm interested to see how it actually functions, but this is basically allowing Copilot to schedule or reschedule one-on-one meetings and personal events based off the preferences. You'll see here in this screenshot, you have the ability to toggle on if this conflict arrives, let Copilot reschedule this event, and you can suggest some days as part of that are acceptable, but if you don't, it's going to try to use its own best effort to try to go ahead and reschedule that if there are conflicts. So again, interested to see how this will work, but this will happen mid-November and be complete by December. Next one here was the announcement from Ignite about integrating AI Sora 2 capabilities into the video generation that they're doing within Copilot. This feature itself is only available for Copilot licensed users. Video generation as a whole can actually be done by a free license that comes part of your Office 365 subscription as part of that. But this is also another preview feature where you need to be in that Frontier program in order to be able to get access into it. This next one I also thought was really cool from the sense of the MCP protocol and being able to have channel orchestration through these third-party apps that we might use for ticketing or for task management like GitHub, Asana, or Jira. These are the ones that are supported today in Microsoft. You can see here in this screenshot, it does allow you to interact with the MCP server to be able to chat within your channel, as an example, and then be able to facilitate either reading certain tickets or data and then pushing data back out to that third-party tool as well too. So getting pretty cool in the sense of the integration. Again, haven't used this firsthand, so not sure how great it is in real sense, but timelines on this one's mid-November and be complete by mid-December. Next one here is the introduction of agent mode in the Office 365 apps. We've actually had agent mode for Excel in preview up to this point in time. It went GA as part of Ignite, and they're also giving you agent mode in PowerPoint and Word as part of this as well too. And this is allowing you to specifically, chat with a worksheet, in this case with Excel, and it goes ahead and starts to build out all of these, various components. You can now also choose between Anthropic with Claude, as well as OpenAI for the AI model you want to use as part of this interaction. This is again in preview, but the GA portion of this for Excel is available today. So the next one here is extending voice capabilities into the Copilot apps that you would have, or Copilot app in general, along with Copilot integrated into Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and so forth. But it allows you to have a natural back and forth conversation when they're speaking, and play that here so you guys can see that. You would just click on this chat and be able to chat with it.
Hey Copilot, can you summarize the pre-read for Thursday's Zava meeting?
Sure. For Thursday's Zava meeting, the main pre-read is the Zava product launch plan.
So I won't play the whole thing here, but they're going back and forth, and it's just a natural way. Certainly Microsoft's been promoting this a lot, even commercially with Windows 11, if you've seen those commercials while you're watching a football game or something like that. This next announcement was wildly interesting to me because they're basically extending Copilot chat value for users without a license, and it's effectively what we've all been paying for at the beginning of this, which is being able to, chat with your Outlook inbox, being able to chat with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and get summarization, having the agent mode being available within this as well too, even without a license. So I think Microsoft really is wanting to drive a lot of adoption, and I'm not sure this is going to make the licensing model even more confusing around like what actually do you need to be able to, use the more advanced features, and what do you have to pay for versus what's included without having a license altogether. Clearly, though, they're trying to get more and more people to adopt to get them into a slippery funnel of getting into a paid motion. So interesting to see what this will entail, but this will be rolling out in preview starting in December, and then they intend to have that in preview by the March timeframe of next year. Next one here is related to Edge for Business, introducing Copilot mode. I think this is Microsoft's method, or I think this is Microsoft's way of trying to compete with browsers like Perplexity as an example. But I've highlighted some of the ones I thought were most interesting as far as the capabilities, one of which is agent mode, being able to go through and perform multi-step workflows without having user interaction as part of this. Being able to do multi-tab reasoning and make answers into things that you have open tabs with as part of this, and even YouTube video summarization, which was really specific, but also very interesting as part of this as well too. Timelines in this one's in preview, so no timelines yet as far as the GA, but this was another big announcement coming out of Ignite. Next one here is related to Microsoft Purview and addressing some of the key security issues around Copilot. So I've highlighted three of the main ones here as part of this. The first one's related to DLP enhancements for Copilot. That's really going to get into making sure you're protecting sensitive information. If there's PII, like a customer, tax information or a credit card number shared within Copilot, it'll automatically prevent the user from sharing that, and subsequently on, responding in such a way that it provides the actual credit card numbers in chat. There's an overshare link recommendation, which is something that I've been waiting for a while, which will show you kind of like oversharing links within the various SharePoint repositories and how to reduce your exposure there from potential insider threat or from data loss in that sense. And then the SPM is Microsoft's newer solution here. It's data security posture management, and this is allowing you to use AI to investigate and perform investigations for where there might be a lot of sensitive content within your organization, and kind of surface, hey, if we're in this repository, what's the most sensitive data being shared? And you can peel that out, and there's a screenshot here that I'm showing that kind of represents that as well too. All these are currently in preview, so no defined dates just yet, but good to see that there's a lot more security kind of baking in naturally into Purview, specifically around Copilot. All right, and then shifting into the last section here, the admin section. This first one's related to enhancements around identity protection alert settings, specifically for risk detections or risky users within Entra. Previously, you'd have all of these flow through and didn't have any granular control on the detection level, meaning low, medium, or high, as part of this. And now it's going to shift the default settings and only show you the alert severity of high, which I actually don't want to have as part of this, in my opinion, but you can go into the Defender portal and configure the settings to make it as granular as you want for all these detections. And the public preview on this starts in December 11th of 2025. Next announcement here, I made a whole video and blog on this, so you can check it out for all the granular details, but Microsoft announced a new offering, a new SKU for Copilot for Business, specifically Copilot license with all the same capabilities as what exists today, but just at a lower price point for SMB, so under 300 seats. They're also doing some bundles as part of that. You can bundle in with base business plans and offering some promotions moving into the next year you can check out. All that's on my blog. Availability for this SKU starts in December 1 of next month. The other announcement here was related to Security Copilot included in E5. And so you don't have to pay anything additional. But the one thing I was wanting to look up that I put in here that's interesting and also confusing, which is how they actually license Security Copilot. And it's a consumption-based model based off of what they call security compute units. So they're all new lexicon, right, of a licensing that you have to study up on. And so I'm not sure, without investigating further, how far this would actually get you as far as being able to use Security Copilot and some of those agents that are within Entra, and some of the ones I mentioned today about Intune as part of that. But good to see, like it's at least trending in a more positive direction where you can adopt it in some of these base plans. This will start in November, probably by the time you're watching this video is past that time frame. and then they'll continually grow and roll it out to new customers in the coming months, and you'll receive that notification before it activates. Next announcement here was interesting, that they are announcing this Microsoft Baseline Security Mode, or BSM as an acronym. But basically, this is kind of extending, in my opinion, security recommendations from the Secure Score, and being able to go ahead and automatically start to roll those out and have Microsoft manage those, but also run simulations for settings that might affect end users and impact the organization a little bit more. So a more streamlined approach. It's interesting, though, that it's now in the admin center and not in the security admin center, right? It's getting confusing with all the settings that you would want to see. I would think that they would have put this in the Defender portal, but here it is in the admin center. So they have 18 settings I think you can automate today, which isn't a ton, but it's all within something you can configure, and the steps to do that are in my blog that I'll supplement here as well. It's GA today, so you could test this out if you wanted to see it.
Okay guys, that's everything I had for you today. Definitely comment below with any of the features you're most excited about. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next week.